Hello and welcome to another episode of World Awake TV. I'm your host Sky Cubby, and together we are dreaming the world awake. I'm here with Peter Maxwell Slattery, looking at beautiful Mount Adams at the ECETI Ranch. We're seeing stuff in the sky. We're seeing ships. We're seeing Merkaba light beings firing up on the mountain. We're seeing the misty stuff, as you call it.
Yeah.
And this is something that you are doing on the other side of the world in Australia as well. Can you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've got ECETI Australia. So people can go to ecetiaustralia.org for more information on that. But basically it's about educating the public on the ET reality, which does eventually lead people to the consciousness aspect, which is really what it's all about. So I do sky watches. I also do readings, connecting people to their guide sessions as well, which is really a lot of the time other facets of themselves that coexist at the same time. So it's a lot of work that we're doing, documentaries. I'm working in sync with James Gilliland and a lot of other people around the world. So yeah, that's the type of stuff that we're going into.
Hey everyone, we're here at the ECETI Ranch with James Gilliland. It's been an amazing weekend with incredible speakers, and you have been holding this space here for a long time now, and you originally were guided to this land because you had a near-death experience, right?
Yeah, well, I had a couple of them. I had one when I was 5, and the other one I had when I was about 25. And the second one just blew me wide open, and then that created a really long journey, spiritual journey with yogis and lamas, and studying every process-oriented therapy you can imagine out there, and led to here. But I kept having visions, and I just followed the vision. And I saw the mountain, the big mountain, the river, and the words Little Mountain, but I didn't know what Little Mountain meant until I saw the road. It's a Little Mountain Road.
Right. Yeah, well, we were just talking with Peter, and it's been amazing, all the different, what he calls the wispy stuff, but also dimensionalized beings coming into form here, stuff that we haven't seen since the ancient times, since the Taoist, and it's exciting that this is happening now, almost like our consciousness as a collective is raising to a point where we're able to start having this stuff coming through. What's amazing to me is seeing all the ships and seeing the Merkaba beings light up on the mountain. With all the talks, the common thread is that people seem to really be wanting to do that work, to clear their shit, and to really get to the point where they can have their own connections. And it's just amazing to see this community, and that you've been able to hold that space for that.
Yeah, this is everything we do here is to empower the individual. So this is all like inner work, and it's, there's no guru here. There's no authority. It's all free thinking. People come in here to explore consciousness and explore the energies up here on the ranch. And because of that, because we've taken an inner approach, contact with these higher dimensional beings, which are very, very spiritually and technologically advanced, as well as ascended masters and everything, comes from within. It's an internal thing. And we keep missing the boat when it's external, when we start worshiping this being, you're like a battery and you're leaking and all your energy's going out. So it's a matter of bending inward, learning to bend inward, find that still point, 0 point, whatever they call it, within, and be authentic, and that's when your real power comes.
And we're going to be able to learn more from you and tune in more at Dimensions of Disclosure coming up at the end of August.
Great.
And so look for James there. Come on out to Dimensions of Disclosure, and it's been just a real pleasure to catch up after 12 years and to be able to see the kind of space you're holding. I know it's not easy with all these people, but you know, I really appreciate the work that you're doing, James, and you're a real ambassador for the light. So thanks for taking some time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye for now.
See you at Dimensions. Boy, big win right at the end.
You just have been on this world tour. You went to these Bosnian pyramids, and you meditated for how long each day?
Well, I went inside. They've got these tunnels they've excavated near the pyramids that they've discovered. There's a whole network of tunnels that connect. There's a whole pyramid complex. There's 3 pyramids, and there's a cone-shaped hill called a tumulus, and there's other structures in this whole complex over several miles. So it's a whole energy system. And the tunnels underneath, which have been backfilled, they're excavating them now. So they've got miles of these tunnels excavated. And I like to go way deep down in there into these little areas where people don't normally go, and I can be left alone for hours on end. And so I was going in there anywhere from 2 to 4 hours at a time and just meditating in these little tiny tunnels, completely in the dark, and turn the lights off, and just all this. There's all this purple energy all around, you know, in the dark. Even if you have your eyes wide open, it's like I could see all this purple energy around. And there were all kinds of entities coming in, you know, positive entities, not negative entities, like some people might call them angels. But they were there to help people heal. And so I was seeing all these different, dozens of different kinds of beings coming in and communicating. And some of them would ask me for permission to work on me and help heal me. And so, like the first day I went in there, I was exhausted from travel and working 80 plus hours a week and all this, and my kidneys were a little sore, and you know, I just had all these. I had this sharp pain in my shoulder blade, and in a 2-hour session, it all went away.
Amazing. So these pyramids are activated there.
They are definitely activated, and the more that they open up these tunnels, the more that the energy comes out of them, and they're not conjecturing that, they're measuring that.
Wow.
They take drones and fly them up over these pyramids and measure the energies coming off of them. They've been doing this several times a year for I don't know how many years now. And as they excavate these tunnels more and more, the pyramids are turning on more.
All right, so I'm getting excited about the Skywatch tonight. Got some great footage last night of some ships. Was able to interview my health hero, Ken Rolla, and just did a little clip here I'm going to share with you from Jordan Sather from Destroying the Illusion. And yeah, you can see the viewing area out there, and everyone is going to be gathering after dinner, seeing orbs in the field here, and also Merkaba light ships powering up on Mount Adams there. A lot of stuff in the sky. This has been an incredible place to be, and I'm glad to be able to be sharing some of it with you. So enjoy. We have things that help for energy, help for sleep, also help for being able to strengthen your immune system. I'm going to be, actually you guys are hosting Dimensions of Disclosure,
yeah.
And I'm going to be talking about invincible immunity and everlasting energy.
So Sky, you're going to be at Dimensions talking about all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're going to have a booth, and we're going to be slinging superfood smoothies there. You can try some coffee break. If you come, you could try, you know, the living greens. We got this other green drink that actually tastes good. And
cool.
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know, in Hawaii, I had your the chocolate. I think it was chocolate almonds, or was it the macadamia nuts too? I can't remember which one you
Both,
had. It was both you had, right? Anyway, they were the best. The chocolate almonds were seriously. I mean, I'm not just saying this. They were seriously the best chocolate almonds I had.
It's
I was
hard
like, these
enough
are
to
amazing.
get an organic almond these
Yeah,
days,
yeah.
but then we sprout it and then we salt it, and so
Yeah, man.
It's got the superfood
they
chocolate.
They were so good. Seriously, they were addictively good. Actually,
Yeah.
I was like afraid of eating the whole pack.
And then we have the chocolate covered macadamia nuts and
Yeah,
the,
I tried those too.
mulberries.
Those
And
were just like
the
out of
chocolate
the world.
macadamia nuts were next level.
Yeah,
They were scary
I don't
good.
even- yeah, and then because he was like, hey, he came up to us and he was like, try it, and then we tried it, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, definitely we should be promoting this on the show because it's so good.
For some reason, I'm being called into the UFO disclosure community to like share health stuff, and I think it's more my passion, honestly, because I've been doing this for about 7 years, and I love it. I love the stories of watching people transform with their health, and at the same time, I'm being called to this land here. James came out to Hawaii. He came out to our house 12 years ago.
Did he?
And
He
he
did,
came
really?
to our
Yeah.
pyramid. We have a pyramid inside of our octagon.
Of course you do.
And we,
of course he does.
we went ahead and contacted the Lyran cat beings, and we've been wanting to come here ever since. So our daughter's old enough to be in summer camp now, and we're out here and enjoying the time here. And gosh, the first night there were so many UFOs.
I know.
Yeah, I know there's tons of
It
first
was
night.
so
Actually, well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what's your experience like here at ECETI? What's been the highlight and for you?
I mean, there's so many things. Okay, for one thing, so many questions have been answered. These lights on the mountain that we see. I'm like, well, if they're ships, why aren't they taking off and going? And we're realizing that they're more advanced beings that are powering up their Merkabic light bodies.
You just said Merkabic.
Merkabic.
What does Merkabic mean?
Well, on our land in Hawaii, we built a Merkaba. Merkaba is the Star of David.
Okay.
So it's the Star of David with two counter-rotating, the top and bottom triangles counter-rotate. And we've heard about like the Merkaba light body for a long time. And I'm realizing that we're seeing that happening up on the mountain. Mm-hmm. We're seeing ships going by, and that could be military. 90% of the ships
Could
are
be.
military. So it could be
But
military.
this mountain is too unique, I feel, though. Like, those lights coming off of the mountain at night are so strange.
Well,
And
yeah,
they
some of them
pulse like
Yeah.
plasma. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's just a joke. Oh, so one thing I just got to say is the
Yeah.
orbs. Okay, looking through the night vision goggles,
my
and you can
gosh,
see some
man.
pictures of it here. We'll throw on, but looking through the night with my iPhone, I held it up to night vision goggles in front of the infrared light,
Right.
and you see these orbs
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
in, and I mean, I watched people just flip out. I flipped out.
I know, right?
Because that's real, and you can catch orbs on your camera. You need those.
Oh, and it's not
regular-
dust. It's clearly not dust. That's the thing. Is I think oftentimes people
Well,
think that it is or whatever.
Right,
and-
or I mean, there definitely is bugs out there, but you can see the bugs because they go
Yeah.
slow and they kind of flutter
Well, right.
around. The orbs move very, very quickly, and they'll kind of go over like the whole area or whatever, or kind of like go around one person. So that's what
I
I
had
was like,
someone on
wow.
my Facebook say, "Oh, they're dandelion seeds." And I said, "Yeah, that's why we got a strong wind blowing from the left to right, and that's why the orb is going this way."
Right.
So that was probably one of the highlights, but also like you experienced, and maybe you with the inner, just going inward. There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's so much.
There's a
going
lot
on.
of stuff going on.
I saw a golden pyramid, right in this whole vortex area. I saw different beings coming, and community. I felt like my connection with my guides was completely enhanced. You just crushed it in your presentation today.
Thanks, my friend.
Jordan. And James Gilliland, going to you, saying, when I want to know what's really going on, I talk to Jordan. So you have this knack of being able to see through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like you to share with the audience some of the things that you're seeing in this, what we think is disclosure with the mainstream media. All of a sudden, all you tinfoil hatters were right out there. you know, there
There's
are
all these UFOs.
What's
yeah.
really going on here, and you know, why is this partial disclosure?
Good verbiage there right at the end, calling it partial disclosure, and prefacing this with the definition of what a partial disclosure is, or sometimes it's called a limited hangout. And basically what a limited hangout is that is terminology that's often used in the intelligence community, in the clandestine community. And it describes a scenario whereby when the veil of secrecy is shrouded, or basically the lies aren't working anymore and the public or the individuals are waking up and seeing the truth, a piece of hidden information that they previously kept secret is given, it's volunteered, to basically distract the person or distract the public and make them think that's all there is, so they can then hide the more incriminating evidence. So what we're seeing on a grand scale right now is, of course, the deep state is getting exposed everywhere. I mean, just get onto social media, so many people are sharing memes, and independent citizen journalists are starting YouTube channels and blogs and websites, and just the deep state's getting crushed everywhere. So what they're doing is giving us a piece of UFO information. They're giving the public a piece of the UFO topic and trying to distract and divert them away from the rest of the disclosures that are happening. That's the limited hangout. And the deeper, darker stuff they're trying to hide is a lot of the Satanism involvement in politics, Hollywood, etc., trafficking of guns and humans and drugs and organs, etc. I mean, these are
a desperate ploy to say, "Oh my God, they're finding out too much.
Yeah.
We got to give them something. Let's the UFOs."
They're literally like distracting us with a shiny object. Like, look at this flying saucer over
like
here,
that.
right? And what they're telling us in regards to UFOs is just a drop in the bucket compared to what's out there. They're trying to act like this one black budget program that was $22 million was the only one that ever existed, when we have evidence showing that trillions of dollars have actually gone into black budget programs. They're trying to act like humans don't have anti-gravity technology. All these UFOs are extraterrestrial and they could be threats. So there's a lot of particular narratives that they're trying to insert into the public consciousness right now to scare us, distract us, divert us away from a lot of the greater stuff that's breaking.
Like, as we're seeing tons of ships flying over here,
Yeah, right?
orbs flying all through that meadow, and as we're waking up, you know, I'm glad you're not falling for it.
Right.
And,
They try to act like this one video is all they have, this one sighting is all they have, or there's just a few of them and it's only the military that's seeing these. No public is seeing these. It's like, you know, I'm noticing in the mainstream media they're playing mind games with us. On one hand, they're saying, oh, UFOs are real, here's all these, you know, videos and whatnot, but we see some articles that say, oh, life is less possible than we thought. And these are coming from mainstream science organizations. So it's like, you know, they're playing some sort of like mind game with us and trying to feed us into one particular line here or there.
what media outlets on the mainstream media in particular should we watch out for? Because you mentioned one video.
All of the above.
That they put out on, you know, you showed about 10 different slides of the same video, and it's like we have so much footage. So.
And it blows my mind how we're getting these UFO stories from mainstream media organizations that these truth seekers and conspiracy theorists are falling for, they're believing. But then over here, that we're getting so much fake news from them, fake news about health, about vaccines, about politics, history, everything, that it's like they're contradicting themselves and believing this lying organization but thinking it's truth. It's just really weird to me.
I'm so glad that you can see through all that, and if you want to learn some more, then you're going to be actually speaking at Dimensions of Disclosure in Ventura at the end of August. So we'll be out there, and Jordan say they're destroying the illusion. I'm Sky Cubby from worldawake.tv. Check it out. And great to see you, man.
Great to see you.
Thanks
Thank you.
for a little time.
Stay woke, everybody.
And I'm here with John Vivanco at the ECETI Ranch. We're at this conference for a week long, and you were one of my favorite speakers.
Oh, thanks.
This is a remote viewing master extraordinaire, and I have to say I was blown away in your presentation with some of the places we went. I mean, basically it seems like anything is possible in this realm, but you really ground it into a simple, as you call it, the baseline of what you're tuning into to find out and start sensing what's going on in the world. So tell our audience a little bit about what you're most excited about right now and some of the things you've been able to reveal through your work.
Oh man, remote viewing. So I've been in this like over 20 years, and we've worked with intelligence and business, on like the corporate side, and we have a methodology that we use in getting them information that I now apply to expeditions into areas of high strangeness, typically. So, what I'm doing right now, this probably sounds absolutely insane, but we've been remote viewing reports of sightings of pterodactyls, if you can believe that, in Washington State.
Wow.
And so our data it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder.
It does, but see, the thing is, you got to stay with us here, because every time you follow the data and you actually go to the place, it proves itself true.
Right. So, when we look at these reports, now we're talking from police officers, from families, groups of people, that they have seen what they believe to be pterodactyls, I'd say over the last 30 to 40 years. And we've been remote viewing some of these cases, and these people aren't lying, so they're seeing something,
My feathers grow wide to the sky. My claws grow deep, caressing the soil. My purpose, my place, my bones, my reminders. This gift, this prayer, this circle, this dance, this dance.
And so these advanced beings, what they can do, and we sometimes see it with the Merkaba, they don't need to fly around or be in a craft like we do see them. Basically, they're swimming through electrons, is the way they showed it to me. But the advanced beings, they can break their light body form, or whatever form they want to take on, down to an electron, which is a negative charged subatomic particle. And because all electrons have a symbiotic relationship, they just instantaneously, through thought, pop out where they want to through that single electron and rebuild from the building blocks there.
It's kind of like Dr. Sala was just on the show, and he was talking about how we have mini black holes everywhere in our bodies, and that maybe that's how these beings can just bilocate or teleport anywhere in the or downstep their consciousness into. Basically, it shows us how everything is interconnected and one. Yeah,
Definitely. And I was talking to Corey Good about that yesterday, because he brought up a similar thing to what you did, but he also brought up the electron with it. And I was just like, this is sort of, you put those two things together, we start to get to some understanding, which is what this is about, is a unity in this conscious field. Because the more that we do that, the more we're going to connect dots. Like, me and Corey talking about that, I was just like, I wasn't aware of that. And so, yeah, it's amazing how this works, because we are one consciousness interacting with itself. Now, on such a larger scale, what they've shown me is that this is about experiencing and gaining knowledge in multiple ways that has to be different for the overall collection.
Share with us one of your contact stories.
Okay. Well, I've been coming to the ranch since 2010. It's 2019 now, so we're in year 9, I guess. I was here last year for the ECETI Conference with Jimmy Church, and this was the final evening of Skywatch. I had gone out into the field and had a nice 1-hour meditation, and then we all came back and had a sound meditation with crystal bowls, and I was just super vibed up and just feeling so good. And then the Skywatch started. I was on the very back, close to the crystal bowls. Everyone else was facing the mountain, and I just laid down and was watching the sky, and right up above me, a ship appeared, and you can tell it's a ship because it's super bright. And I pointed at it, like we all do, thinking someone would see it, and they would, oh, cool, you see that too. And no one saw it. And then, my finger just kind of drifted a little bit to the right, and the ship moved to where my finger was pointing. And I thought, that's weird. Okay. So I moved my finger down a little bit, and sure enough, the ship moved right down to where I was pointing. And I went and I made an entire box, and the ship drew the entire box. And I thought, okay, something's really happening here. So I started drawing other shapes. I drew triangles in the sky, and I did like a lightning bolt, and they didn't like the lightning bolt so much. They went down diagonally pretty fast, but the going across, they didn't. It was really, really slow for some reason. They wouldn't do a spiral, and I was either saying the shapes or I was thinking the shapes, and it was all happening. And I was getting so choked up, like, wow, this is really happening to me. And I called my best friend. I was like, Drake, I got to tell you, I've been out in the field for 45 minutes, and I'm just interacting with this craft, and it's doing what I'm saying. It's listening to my thoughts, and it's communicating, and it's so good. So I was thinking all these great thoughts to it. And at the end of it, it felt like it was about to be over, and I said out loud, okay, guys, you've been drawing shapes that I've been asking you to draw for me for 45 minutes. Why don't you draw a shape that means something to you? And so the ship starts here, and it goes like this. They come down and set up the perimeter, and then they're here for the Ascended Masters to come down. Boom. And I call my best friend. I'm like, Drake, it drew hard. It drew hard. And I thought it was amazing, and I didn't really know why I was able to interact with it so much. After that experience, 2 months later, I was out on my deck reading a book. I was about to go to a 3-day healers retreat that we had organized. And I was reading the Reconnection book again because I'm a reconnective healer and a Reiki master. And I was going to teach the Reconnection at that event. So I'm just reading on my deck, and I get the impetus to turn and look up to the left. So I look up to the left, and 4 p.m, 40 feet above my house, right above one of my trees, is a silver disc pointed down just like this. And it's the quintessential 50s disc with the little bubble in the middle. And I just watched it for about 5 or 6 seconds quietly, and then it lifted up like this, and I could see the rounded bottom of it, and then it straightened out and just was gone. And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And I was just kind of nonchalant about it because I've had so many experiences. I thought, okay, that was meant for me. Broad daylight experience. And I was thinking of Darryl Anka and his Bashara experience, and like I've started channeling now, so maybe this is my time. And interestingly enough, I did 4 hypnosis sessions after that, 2 quantum healing and 2 beyond quantum healing. And in each of those sessions, information came out about that. And in my first Beyond Quantum Healing session, I told Crystal about it, and she said, they're telling me that was your ship at ECETI. That was your ship, and that's why you were able to telepathically communicate with it. And then she led me through going up onto the ship and laying in the healing beds, and I walked her through to the back, and there was this like stone sarcophagus that I laid down in, and I knew it was for me, and it was my healing chamber. And I got into it, and all of these lights started coming above me, and they were filled with all the chakra color lights. It was white base, but then it would be very red and blue, and I felt like it was aligning all of my energy fields for me. And that was just amazing. And then, let's see, the one over the yard, I was in my second quantum healing hypnosis session, and I had a list of questions for my higher self, and the practitioner had a list of questions as well. So she asked her questions, and then it got to the question of what was the deal with the UFO over Scott's backyard. And it was such a very beautiful moment for me because all of a sudden I saw myself, I was on that ship, that silver ship that was in my backyard, and it was just a little 3-seater, and there weren't any beings on there, and I couldn't figure out why there weren't beings. And in my mind, as the channel, I kept wanting to see the beings. And then my higher self says, we are quite amused right now because the channel is trying desperately to see faces. Scott, don't worry about the faces. You're not supposed to see that yet. And I just assumed maybe it was Pleiadian. But then there was shown the most beautiful thing is when my higher self said they were essentially there tipping their hat to you by tilting the UFO down to show you that you're on the right path and that you are finally getting on the path that you need to be on. And when they lifted up to show the bottom, they emitted this beam of energy that I like to say was like a zip file, like a compressed bit of information that had Akashic energy, it had healing energy, it had awakening energy. And after that experience, the next day I went to this 3-day retreat and I was just on fire. And that all happened just spontaneously. And when you open up to spirit and let it all come in, you get the lessons.
Sounds like you got the download.
I definitely got the download. Yeah, it was a long time coming. It wasn't overnight for sure.
Yeah, that's how it
like
works.
This band's overnight successes, it takes them 15 years to get there, but then one song and everybody knows them. It was just like that.
One shift, yeah.
One shift.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely,
And,
it's my pleasure.
It's actually my 44th birthday today.
Yeah!
So
Woo!
I went out.
Happy
I
birthday.
went out in the field and did some meditation, and definitely got a lot of gifts. A lot of gifts from my guides, and you know, a lot of. It's like when you really are ready and you really want to tune in, and all the information is going to come. You know, you just gotta listen. But I had a lot of that give and exchange with the beings that are helping me, asking questions, receiving, getting that going and flowing.
Yeah.
And that
When the student
really
is ready,
helped
the
a lot.
master appears, right?
Yeah, and I opened my eyes at one point, and there was just all these sparkles all around me, and I had asked the question about the lights up on the mountain, like what are they? And they said, we're showing you what you're going to be doing soon. And then the hummingbirds landed next to me. All the birds came around, and then that's when I went out of my body to the Andromedans, the
my homies.
Andromedans and the Arcturians, and learned the lessons that I learned from them on my way, on my soul's journey. Kind of reminders, you know.
Fantastic.
So it was good. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Holding space for me to share as well.
All day.
And all right.
This
Thanks
is the
so
land.
much,
This is a
Scott.
magical place. This is where all this stuff happens.
Beautiful place. All right. Take care, man.
Thank you, brother. What's your channel?
World Awake TV. Together, we are dreaming the world awake.
World Awake TV.
And I'm here with
Tyler Koala
All
from
right.
Journey to Truth podcast.
Awesome, Tyler. It's great to have you here, and we're just going to talk a little bit about one of your experiences you had that you'd like to share. We've been seeing all these ships, but some of the most incredible things coming through are the wispy stuff, as Peter Maxwell talks about. So you had an experience in your room, was it?
Yeah, so this wasn't an experience here per se. It was back home. Although the stuff here is amazing. You can't go anywhere else in the world and see this. I've had many experiences actually, quite a few. But one that really sticks out is, you know how sometimes stuff happens you don't remember it? It seemed like I was getting to a point where they were letting me remember. So I woke up, or I was woken up, and to what could best describe as like a holographic looking, like gray head of a gray alien, like looking at me, and telepathically he told me to close my eyes, and I closed my eyes, and I'm wide awake. So they woke me up to let me see this experience. He told me to close my eyes. As soon as I closed my eyes, I opened up somewhere else. I was laying on a table on a craft, and there were literally just like a Hollywood movie scene. Like there was little grays, little three-fingered grays, like about 5 of them, all scanning my body.
Yeah.
Just literally doing work. I don't know what they were doing, but it didn't feel negative.
Okay.
They had
That's
me in
really good to hear.
They had me in a mild state of like paralysis. It was very comforting. It was like soothing feeling. It was not negative.
They're giving you the good stuff.
But my body, my physical body, because I'm not sleeping, so I'm vibrating at such a rate to where this is one of the things that really stands out to me is it was making me really have to go pee. So while they're doing this, I couldn't hold it anymore. So I had to like break the connection and get up and use the restroom and come back. And when I laid back down, they put me back into it.
Interesting.
So I go right back in.
They let you go pee.
Yeah, they really did.
Sorry.
And I lay back down, and I went right back into it. Closed my eyes, and they were there. And then all of a sudden, what I would best describe as their leader, or whoever, came through. He was an insectoid-looking being.
Okay.
He looked me in the eyes like a doctor would look you in your eyes, check with a light. Just one-eyed and the next, and just kind of gave them and me like the nod of approval, and then they kind of just did something else, and then boom, I was out of it.
Did it look maybe like a mantis being, perhaps?
No, it was not.
Not a mantis.
Actually, I've been asked, because I've told the story before, what type, and it almost was like a hybrid of insectoid.
Insectoid, yeah. No, I only asked because there's so much that is coming through now about how, like with Bashar, you follow.
Oh yeah,
Bashar,
yeah.
Because he talks about how we actually have these soul agreements and contracts that we give permission to these greys who are in a way us in the future, but it's actually, since there's so many parallel dimensions and timelines, Bashar says they are us from another dimension, another actual universe that tunneled in, that came to our timeline. Maybe not so much another universe, another timeline that came to ours to help get their humanity back.
Yeah.
And that it's great to hear kind of a positive experience like that, because it's freaky, these aliens coming in your room.
Yeah.
But then really, like, if they are us in the future who lost their humanity by going out into space and devolving into these kind of skinny grays, then we actually have this kind of connection with helping. We're all one, right?
Yeah.
So we're helping ourselves in a sense to regain their genetics and their humanity, and that's a different way to look at it than the scary Hollywood alien stuff.
Well, and I got confirmation. So I see a Reiki healer who also gives me readings, and she actually channels while she's doing the healing. And she gets messages from your guides and all that stuff. So it's kind of like a bundled package.
Uh-huh.
And she had no idea about my experience. And then at the end, she goes, wow, it was really strange. I've never seen this before, but I saw you laying in a bed on our craft. She goes, I looked out the windows and I could see nothing but stars, like we were in space. And she goes, there were aliens, little guys working on you. And she goes, you were bound down with like yellow energy bars.
Wow.
And they were working on you. And she goes, they told me what they were doing was infusing crystal into our spines. It's not just me, it's all of us, because we're going from, we were essentially evolving into the crystalline beings.
So they're helping us. They're giving back.
So
they're paying some forward.
She said, I asked, they said it wouldn't be painful because they're slowly doing this. They're coming often and doing this, and they're integrating crystal into our spines, and it's going to be where, our memories are stored and all this stuff. We're going to become, new version of us. So
wow,
that comes through the session. That it totally validated what I just experienced, and she had no idea I experienced that.
Oh.
So, I mean,
that's great, man.
That's
really such a positive story. UFOs. I'm here with Angel. And Angel, you've had some close encounters?
Yeah, I've had a couple, that I saw a couple of ships. I'm from London originally. I live in South Wales on the coast. So the first one I was in Cornwall, and I lived in Cornwall a few years ago. It was about 10:30 at night. I was driving back from a meditation, and clear sky, full moon, heading towards Penzance in my car. Saw what I thought was a bright star in the distance, which suddenly kind of exploded into like a green, looked like a jelly baby, like kind of dribbled down over Land's End way, and then saw this round ball that was white, pale orange and red, travelling about as fast as a helicopter, just a bit faster, no blinking lights or nothing. And I was driving, and it was on my right. I was driving down a little motorway, and I was following it for about I was going towards Penzance, and it was coming the other way on my right hand side, probably a couple of miles away up in the sky. I finally pulled over so I could get a proper look at it. It came over the car, and a white disc appeared around it, like a translucent white disc. And then I heard it go pop, like the electromagnetic obviously opened the portal, and it went, white thing opens for about 5 seconds, and it went pop, and it disappeared.
Shot straight up.
Yeah, and then, excuse me. Then I was so excited, I come back and phoning people up at 11, 12 at night. But the next day, the end of the week, several people, quite a few people saw the green one. I was sitting in the car, the window was open. I was looking at the full moon through the binoculars. Yeah, she comes over, this woman, and says, what's that you're looking at? And I thought she meant the full moon. She went, no, what's next to the moon? And I sort of leaned out the window of the car and saw this sort of lightly kind of ultraviolet-y kind of pink, like a sort of circle, like in the sky, stationary. And because you just kind of know. I thought, oh, here we go. And so I grabbed the binoculars, I look out the window at it, and it was amazing. It was I saw it really close up. It was cigar shaped, but the ends were rounded, and it had two small cigars like stuck each side of it, like a rocket. And it was silver. There was no markings on it, no windows, no flashing light. I saw it really close up. It really kind of wow, like, and it's sort of pinky, that plasma kind of light pink colour around there. watched it for about 40 minutes to 40 seconds to about a minute. Then the cloud bank went over and I thought, oh no. And then after about 5 minutes that cleared and it was still there. But what had happened, it had flipped round. It obviously turned around, I saw the back end of it. So I just like 3 circles and I looked like silver balls.
You didn't
it's
see it
beautiful.
move any other time?
No, because the cloud bank, if
it just flipped after
if the cloud hadn't gone over it, I would have seen it like turn around or flip round. But yeah, it's obviously done that when the cloud bank was over it. So I watched it for about another minute, and then the bigger cloud bank went over, and that was it. The cloud bank was there for good. And she said to me like, "What is it?" And I said, "It's a UFO." So,
awesome, Angel. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Awesome.
Site newearthconsulting.squarespace.com. So I work with MILAB, super soldiers, trauma from the seemingly unexplained, abductees, contactees, and help with ascension coaching, helping people to increase their bioavailability of solar photonic light. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're trying to do to our bodies, increase our bioavailability of the solar energy that's coming to the planet.
Nice.
So yeah, and then just counseling of all different types. I'm highly intuitive and yeah, can help you out. Balance you out.
Hit her up.
Well, I got a download when I was out there. So on the intention walk, there's all these different star systems. You can put a little gem, put a piece of jewelry, I don't know, put a piece of candy, like anything, just like kind of like a little, I don't know what you call it. Like putting
offering.
like a little offering, yeah. Like throw a penny in the fountain, you know, a little offering. And I was thinking to myself, you know, should I put a bracelet down? And they said, you know, these offerings is to everybody. So it shifted the intention walk to these offerings that people put down. It's like kind of a beautiful thing. Like you put down these things, like, oh, I'm gonna put down this, like I have this bracelet that says peace on it. One of my girlfriends made it. It's just so, we're gonna out of focus. So cute, and I was like, oh, I like this bracelet. I don't know if I wanna like put it down there. And we're like, well, these things are for everybody. These offerings are for every person that walks by. So while we're offering something to Sirius, we're offering something to Orion or Arcturus, Pleiades. They're also for every person that walks by there. Like the magnitude of that gratitude. The magnitude of gratitude is really potent there in the intention walk, and it's beautiful, beautiful little ritual.
Yeah, I like how you call in the oneness collective and to amplify it through a vortex like this. I was seeing like a golden pyramid that I guess is representation of the whole vortex thing, and then in James's his clearing, you know, all of a sudden I was seeing this like golden dome, and then this light was just like golden light was pouring in when he contacted the Lyran beings, the cat beings, and I just felt like I've been feeling like a whole restructuring on this property since I got here, and I think a lot of people have been feeling that as well.
Yeah.
Just give your information so people can get a hold of the
absolutely.
rest of your work.
So I have a YouTube channel, Lauren Pritchard Ascension. My goal with my channel is to keep the volunteer consciousness in the loop, and you know, any human beings of love and light that are following the energy, the planetary shift. It's really a support group, support channel. It's lately just me with a cup of coffee when I wake up. My hair is a mess, and you know, vanity programming just out the window.
This girl's really breaking down some boundaries, working with like the Ubuntu consciousness of Michael Tellinger's been bringing out, but is a living example of what it takes and what you can do to literally exit or begin to exit the monetary system.
I'm kind of pioneering the feminine inception consciousness behind something like Ubuntu.
And it really starts with that, like saying, hey, you know, I'm not going to be a part of this system anymore, or dialing it back a bit.
Yeah, so, and backing out with love, like not being angry about it. It's like, it was fine, we learned from it, but we don't need it anymore. We actually don't want it anymore because it's inhibiting our consciousness to be this really high-functioning human collective that we really are. Without the imposition of money, there's nothing that we can't do that AI can do. AI is mimicking this thing that we can do naturally if we're not inhibited by, you know, monetary structure, polarization, or cultural engineering, you name it.
Well, thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Check out her work, you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Walk walking through pillars of gold and light. Veils pierced, open cosmic portals, starry nights. Luminous beings guiding our way, spark the torch. Shining candle of healing ourselves and the earth. Carry on the songs of our ancestors.
It's like a lullaby. This one reminds me of the fairy sound from Zelda.
Me too.
It does.
So peaceful. Floating in pools of resonant nectar.
Imagine yourself floating in pools of resonant nectar. You are inside the honeycomb.